It's rough being a Falcons fan. It's your boy Simo checking in for Point Game Official. We're going to go over some of what happened in Week 7. The numbers lied to us. We led in time of possession, yardage, third down conversions. We ran the ball better than them, but we still lost. And now we got people panicking, talking about we're the same old Falcons. We should have went and drafted somebody in the first round to be a pass rusher, which is kind of ridiculous. None of the first round rookies right now are doing anything better than 2 sacks. So we still be having the same complaints about fixing the pass rush. So what went wrong? One of the main issues, linebackers not filling holes, reading it late. That goes for Nate Landman, and that goes for Caden Ellis. Take a play like this, it's 4th and 1. Seahawks come out in 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver, and 2 backs. If I'm the Falcons, I'd come out in my base formation. At the minimum, a 3-4, and at least you put your beefiest 3 down linemen. Instead, the Falcons come out in their nickel formation. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th defensive back off screen. On the snap of the ball, this lineman right here is going to shoot this A gap. This is Matthew Judon. He's going to shoot this B gap. This defensive back right here, he's going to shoot right here. And your linebacker is supposed to fit just outside of him right here. That's Nate Landman. He gets washed down and blocked. That shouldn't happen. He's supposed to scrape over top, meet this guy right here in the backfield, or at the line of scrimmage to prevent this first down. He doesn't, and he goes for an additional 5 more yards. It's not what you want. The coach is not scheming this up properly enough to account for those type of deficiencies. Doing things like giving people soft zone. And ironically, I believe they're afraid that we're not going to be able to get there on the pass rush. It's allowing people to just stand up and dink over us because we're giving 8-yard cushions, which is insane. And people are just hopping up, being able to get free releases with their routes just completely unobstructed. Like on the play where DK Metcalf scored a touchdown. And again, that was one of the linebackers not covering in the way that he should have. But you got to help that guy out. You know, Nate Landman, like I said, he doesn't have that type of recovery speed, or that type of closing speed where he can see things late and get over to his spots on time. So you got to jam a big guy like DK Metcalf, because if not, he's just going to get a free release. That'll help our pass rush be able to have a better time getting to the quarterback. That's the type of thing that you see on a receiver like Cheetah. Or you see with these extra speedy guys. We actually have guys who are big enough and fast enough to run with most of these guys in the league. It prolongs drives. And in my opinion, our team is not built to be able to keep going with long, sustained drives. The longer we're on the field, the more that we're going to get worn down. And it's just going to be disastrous for us long term. Penalties were our #1 problem this week. Because even giving some of these other deficiencies, even some of these areas of weaknesses that we already have, we started letting penalties take us out of 1st and 10. Now we're looking at 1st and 15. We're looking at 2nd down and long because we didn't convert on the 1st and long. And it makes it harder in those 3rd down situations. Miscues, like Kirk, throwing interceptions and having turnovers. Trying to force things, that's going to make it harder for us to be able to play to what our strengths are. Our team was built to run the ball. If we have Kirk just straight dropping back 30 times a game, teams are going to tee off on us more. When they make us one-dimensional, that's not our strength. If we can go out here and establish the run, it's going to open it up for our playmakers and our dynamic big receivers like Kyle Pitts. And we can use him in the way that New Orleans, forgive me, used to use Jimmy Graham. We can use Drake London and really start to take the top off the defense with Mooney and some of those other guys. But if it's just Kirk, I don't think he's the type of quarterback that you can just win it on his arm. He's a person that can make plays for you, but you don't want to get behind with a quarterback like Kirk Cousins. Because he's gifted enough to make any throw, he's going to try to attempt to make any throw. Sometimes he has bad judgment calls. The one where he took the fumble, he should have just thrown the ball away. Kirk sometimes presses and he doesn't take what the defense just kind of gives him. He wants to squeeze the ball into certain spots because he's gotten away with it before, when at times he probably shouldn't. Why do I think we shouldn't panic? Because we're better than the team that we just played. Again, with all the miscues that we had, and up until Kirk had that last fumble, the game was relatively close. We basically beat ourselves with penalties, turning the ball over, and forcing things. Moving forward in Week 8, as we move on to play Tampa Bay, I believe that we have a good enough team to make the playoffs if we can become more disciplined and if we play to our strengths. If we run the ball and set the pass up. But if we rely on Kirk Cousins having to drop back and throw it 30 and 40 times, as I said before, we're doomed. It actually kind of makes us a softer team, in my opinion. If we go out and we run the ball and play smash mouth ball, because that's what this team was set up for. I believe that our coaching staff, primarily our offensive and defensive coordinator, they kind of overthink it. They try to make the players fit what their scheme does, as opposed to scheming around what our players are good at. This staff is still inexperienced as far as our coordinators are. It's going to take a little bit more creativity from the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator to use our guys in different ways. But we don't need to get too fancy. Just focus on doing the little things, taking what the defense gives you. Take a little bit more of these dink and dunk plays, your running backs out of the backfield. Get back to what we're good at doing. Our team is built to be able to play with the lead and rush the opposite team's passer. I know that they're worried about us giving up big plays if we don't get to the quarterback with our pass rush, but we essentially have some of the same players from last year, and we've also upgraded in some of those spots with players like Matthew Bijan. So what's the difference? An 8 or 10 yard cushion. You're going to have a hard time stopping anybody from scoring first downs in this league if you're giving them a first down cushion. All they have to do is dink and dunk their way downfield. And that wears our defense down. We have a smaller, undersized front seven, and teams know that, so they lean against us. Probably use Matthew Judon a little bit less on first down situations and start using him more in passing down situations as a pass rusher. A lot of times I've seen them dropping him in the coverage too much. He's our best pass rusher, essentially, theoretically. Based on the last few years of the production that he's had. I believe that he's probably getting worn down. Teams are running at him a lot. I feel like we're doing a lot better on early downs when we use James Smith-Williams and Damone, who just recently was activated off of the practice squad, if I'm not mistaken. They have been a lot more stout and seemed a lot more productive in this game than what we were getting with Lorenzo Carter. If we make some more of those changes to our scheme, that'll also probably serve us a little bit better in the long run. And then we can have Matthew Judon more rested for some of the later down work. We're still in a good position. We're not the same old Falcons, 3-0 in our division, sitting at the top of our division in first place. We're 4-3. At this point, we've only lost one game in the conference. But we can go on a nice winning streak. String along 2 games at a time. I think that our chances of winning the division can be very strong. CMO for Point Game official out. Peace.